Among the very first bits of advice that you get as a digital course creator, or really as a digital entrepreneur, is to hire a virtual assistant before you think you need one. But hiring a virtual assistant or VA costs money. And at the beginning or the middle of your journey, that might feel like a luxury instead of a necessity. There are books telling you to buy back your time, how to hire a VA, and even what tasks you should be outsourcing. But let's face it, that doesn't work for everyone. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 ways to put off hiring a VA, and they are all free. Now, you can go ahead and hire the VA, but I encourage you to consider these ideas first because they are certainly easier on your budget and don't require you to interview anyone.
Anyone can add a digital course to their business. So what sets the 6-figure course creators apart? You're about to find out. Welcome to the Digital Course Creator Podcast with Dr. Maura, a longtime entrepreneur now using her PhD in psychology to help you go from sticky notes to sales worth celebrating.
Most digital entrepreneurs have been told, and this probably includes you, that you need to hire a virtual assistant or VA sooner than you are ready. You have a busy schedule, more tasks than you have time for, especially with everything that life just throws at us, and you want to be a successful digital course creator. You want to get things going really quickly. The problem is that as a course creator who hasn't yet launched a course, you don't have the revenue necessarily to hire a VA when you don't have systems and processes already in place that they can take over really easily. And the thought of creating those systems and processes at this exact moment in time gives you a serious case of hives. But the reality is you do need help. We all need help. As much as you are truly Wonder Woman or Superman, you don't have time to do it all. You don't have Hermione's time turner device from Harry Potter either. So what's the solution? Put simply, ask for help from your friends and family. Think about it. I can tell you to go hire a VA and it will change your business and your life. But is that true for everyone? No. For some, it might be the magic fix to their time problems. But for many, it's going to add stress about money and maybe even take more time as they work to get the VA settled into the business. Now, I'm curious. What was your first thought when I said to ask for help from your friends and family instead of hiring a VA? Did you groan out loud? Did you immediately think, but what could they do to help? Or maybe you got excited about this kind of possibility. Regardless of what your gut reaction was, listen in as I share 5 asks that you can ask of your friends and family. These are all asks that are free in that they don't cost any money. They can free up time and can free up some mental space so that you can be more creative and more productive in your business. And you'll want to listen to the very end of today's episode because I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about ask number 4, because this is the one that I often feel resistance to, and I know so many others who do as well. I'm going to share with you how you can not just get around that resistance, but blow right through it and really lean into ask number 4. One of my favorite parts of the weekend is that we get to run errands together as a family. We stop at Target, we stop at the grocery store, we do all of the little tiny tasks that we don't get to do together during the week or don't really have time for during the week. My favorite part is that as we're doing these errands, we get to talk. We get to listen to music, we get to be silly, and just kind of enjoy one another. But let's face it, if you have ever run weekend errands, running those errands takes time, in all caps, especially if you live anywhere that has any kind of traffic. If you are spending 2 or more hours each weekend running errands, why not consider asking a family member or friend to run those errands for you so that you can get 2 or more hours of concentrated time to work on your business? I already told you that this is something I hold dear. I love errand time with my family, but I'll also be the first to tell you that missing out on one day of errands a month is okay. My husband and my kiddo, they leave the house armed with a list of what needs to be done. That's something that we create whether I go on the errands or not. And they also have a strict instruction not to ask questions. This gives me 2 hours to get work done so that when they walk in the door, I'm ready to focus on family without feeling worry, stress, or trying to sneak in work when I think no one's looking. If you even ask someone to run errands for you once a month, or maybe even twice a month, how much more focused time would you have to get your tasks done? With those errands, you are constantly watching the clock. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I have all of these things that I need to get done. This is taking forever. The traffic is backed up. And maybe you're worrying about how late you'll have to stay up. When you delegate those errands, you get freedom to work without interruption and freedom to be present for your friends and family when they return home, which they will love, and so will you. Now, asking for help with errands is a pretty concrete thing, right? Even better is teaching your family and friends how to best help you. And this is something that feels a little bit kind of strange, I think. But if you find yourself saying, I don't know what to ask my family and friends to do for me, you're going to love this ask. Ask number 2 is to ask your family and friends to use the following phrase when they have time to do something for you. And it's not, how can I help? Because that just adds to our mental load. It just creates more angst, right? Because now you have to come up with something for them to do. That feels hard. Instead, have them be more specific. You can ask them to say, I noticed your list is long today. Would it be helpful if I? They might offer to wash the dishes, put away the laundry, cook dinner, plan the birthday party, walk the dog. There have been plenty of times being asked how someone can help just feels like another thing to do. But being asked, would it be helpful if I, feels like a weight being lifted. Consequently, this is a great phrase to use with anyone at any time when you want to be helpful. Okay? You can absolutely use this in your own life, not just in your business life. The key is to train your family members and friends to ask this kind of specific question. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be weird. It can just be something as easy as when the next time you sit down together and they say that they want to help, you say, you know what? I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed as an entrepreneur. All the things are adding up and I could use a little help, but it feels like a lot to have to make a list. So maybe you could ask me if something would be helpful and you could kind of look around and see what needs to be done and make that suggestion. I would really appreciate that. That would really feel like a huge weight being lifted off my shoulders. I've used this approach. I've used this ask. It makes such a big difference, especially if you are constantly trying to juggle home and work tasks. Hiring a VA. So we started off talking today about, is it time to hire a VA? Well, it may not be possible. Hiring a VA isn't always possible. I get that. But enlisting your friends and your family to help you, especially with life tasks, can buy you time. It can buy you energy, and it can keep your money in the bank longer. We've been talking about the concept of having friends and family run errands for you so that you have time to focus without distractions, and even teaching your loved ones to ask if it would be helpful if they completed a specific task. This brings me to our third ask for today. The third ask that I want to share with you is a little different. If you've been wondering if hiring a VA is right for your business right now, you might be thinking that a VA would help you make more progress. Or on those really tough days, you might be thinking that they would help you make any progress. What if you rallied your friends and family to remind you of the progress that you are making? In episode 189, I shared that one of the biggest things that I got right in my business was to involve my friends and family from the start. Keeping them in the loop means that they can see the successes and the progress that you're experiencing. And it's often with a much, much clearer lens than you can. You're stuck in the middle of the muck of building a course and a business. When we're in the middle, we often can't see the beginning or how far we've come. Think about being on the highway for hours on end. It feels like you haven't really gotten very far because the scenery hasn't really changed. Maybe it's still trees, maybe it's still desert. It feels like you haven't gotten very far. You can only see a little way in the rearview mirror and a little way in front of the car. You can't see the 500 miles you've already covered or the fact that you are a mere 30 miles from your destination. All you can see are the 2 miles behind you and the 2 miles in front of you. Ask your family members and friends to consistently remind you about the progress that you've made. This is going to keep you going, and it's going to remind you that all of the work that you've already done in your business, it's getting you somewhere. You are on that path to success. How will it feel to know that when you're finally ready to hire a VA, that your progress is going to be even more amplified? Pretty great, right? Because you're already aware of the progress you've made, and now you're kind of hitting that amplify button on it. But getting your friends and your family to rally around you and your progress is just one piece of the puzzle, right? We need to clear time and energy to get things done in our business, whether that is recording a new course module, planning out that launch email sequence, or getting on a few calls with potential students. These all take time. Much like the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the mowing, and all of those other household chores that just never seem to end. If you are short on time, ask your family member or friends to help out. Think about it. When a friend has a new baby, we rush to help. We make a meal, we fold their laundry, we mop the floor, we read a book to their other children. We generally make ourselves really useful. And then we get to snuggle the baby. But first and foremost, we make ourselves useful to them. A business is a lot like having a child. We need help. We should have help. Because those chores, they aren't just a once and done thing. They're a recurring task, just like paying the power bill every month. And we need help with those recurring tasks. If you have kids in your home and are the primary parent, you might feel like this load is even heavier and it feels tough to ask for help because that's actually adding a task to your lengthy list. You have to figure out what tasks need to be done. You do these things automatically. You just have a running list in your head. So how do you tell someone else what to do without adding to your mental load and your time load? I've got a solution for you at the end of today's episode in our 60-second solution, because this is definitely something that I struggled with big time, and this one easy fix really does work. I mean, can you find me any successful digital entrepreneur who doesn't have at least a little help with household chores from a family member, from their kids, from a friend, or a housekeeper? Everyone has a little bit of help somehow. The question today has really been, do you need a VA? And what if you don't really need a VA? Oftentimes, a VA, a virtual assistant, is hired to save the entrepreneur time and energy doing tasks that someone else can do. But the reality is that even though a virtual assistant might not be a high budget item, you can find them for relatively inexpensive. Even a little cost might be out of reach right now in your business. So what do you do instead? We've been talking about getting help from family and friends by asking for help. I've shared 4 of my favorite ways to ask for help in my business, and I have just one more to share with you before we wrap up this episode. But let me just remind you to hang out to the end if you'd love more help with household chores but haven't found an easy way to make that happen yet, because asking for that kind of help just feels like another task on your to-do list. All right, ask number 5. Sometimes the biggest help that we can get from anyone is having someone listen. When I say listen, I mean listen without offering any kind of unsolicited advice. If you process things out loud to someone like I do, or you just need to get things off your chest sometimes, having someone who will listen without judgment or advice is priceless. Friends and family love us. They want to fix what's wrong, and although it's well-intentioned, they offer advice that maybe we don't want or need right now. So find one or two family members or friends that you can share what's going on in your business with, and let them know ahead of time that you just need someone to spill it all to. You're not ready for ideas. You don't necessarily need ideas, advice, or thoughts right now. You just need someone to listen. You might be really surprised that they settle into that listening role with a lot of ease. In fact, you've kind of taken the pressure off of them. They don't have to have the answers or the solutions. They just have to listen. And that's just what you need too. I bet you can think of a time when someone just listened. Were you able to come up with a solution on your own? Maybe you felt more at peace, or maybe you realized that what you were frustrated about wasn't all that bad. As course creators, as digital entrepreneurs, we need someone in our corner who is always ready to just listen. As we get ready to wrap up this week's episode, I want you to take action. Taking action is where the magic and the growth in business happens. Today, I've shared with you 5 ways that you can ask for help in your business that will buy you time, energy, motivation, and ease, all without having to invest in a VA to take things off your plate if you aren't ready. We always get that advice to hire a VA before we're ready or before we need one. But what if we just used our support system of family and friends before jumping into the VA pool? What progress could we make without adding more costs to our bottom line? We've been talking all about getting help, and that is a strategic growth move in business. But finding the exact right strategy, especially when you're trying to focus on not just magnetic messaging, but course design, mindset, and progress-driven learning, all of it can feel really big. This is something that I have been managing in my own business, with my students, and in my own college courses for over 15 years as a psychology professor, mentor, and entrepreneur. One of the key things that I've learned is that we can't just rely on learning to get up to that 6-figure mark as a course creator. The books, the podcasts, the courses, the workshops, they're great, and they get us partially there, probably 10% of the way there. But the other 90% of becoming a 6-figure digital course creator often comes down to mindset work through one-on-one support. If you are listening today and you're realizing that you're ready to take the next steps in your business and really get customized one-on-one tailored help with building your digital course creation business, let's have a talk. Send me a DM at Digital Course Creator Guide on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll sit down to figure out the next right steps for you and your digital course business. Now, I know that not everyone is ready for a one-on-one coach or mentor, but you might still have questions. You might need some help getting unstuck or just plotting out your next step. I'm here for that as well, because we all deserve to have support in our business. If you need a little extra support, I hold at least 2 slots each week available for strategy calls that are designed to help you get unstuck and take action in your business. These are free, no obligation calls, and you can schedule your call at coursecalls.com. If you are ready to make the next 12 months the year that you go from being an uncertain course creator to a 6-figure course creator, schedule a strategy call today. Again, the link to schedule is coursecalls.com. I'll also put it in the show notes for you. Before we wrap up though, as promised, in today's 60-second solution, I'm sharing how to get help with household chores to free up your time, energy, and focus so that you can do more in your business without staying up all hours of the night. Asking for help with household chores seems like an obvious solution until your loved ones ask you for a list of what needs to be done. And you just throw up your hands and you say, never mind, because creating a list feels like just another thing that you have to do. There is an easy solution to this problem thanks to the internet. If you don't already have a chore list in your home, head over to Google and search for a household chore checklist. Choose one of the options, print it out, give it a quick scan, highlight the things that you want help with, and hand it over. Even better, just print it off and hand it over. Say, take your pick. I'd love help with anything that you're willing to tackle. Problem solved. You do not need to create your own list. Just head over to Google. And if you want more quick solutions for building a successful digital course business, hit follow now.